Don't get a root canal.
Oh, where is this going?
Why? I'm Dr. Michelle Jorgensen, a holistic dentist, and this was something that I didn't understand.
I'm gonna pause it before I continue. So a lot of these holistic dentists are popping up on TikTok and stuff, and I think it is a huge problem. And it's usually based on something that we know is working, and we have studies proving that it works. But they try to fearmonger and try to scare you out of getting what is routine, and in turn, they try to sell you something else so that you can buy their product.
And for years, inside of the tooth, there's little tiny tubules that simply
That's
cannot
true.
be cleaned and they cannot be filled. They always have dead tissue left in there, even if the root canal is done perfectly.
So what she's talking about is when you do a root canal, you're trying to remove the nerve inside of those canals inside of the tooth. So let's say you have like a tooth that has one canal in it. You're basically cleaning out, you're putting these files in there, you're putting this irrigant in there to clean out that nerve. And what she's saying, there's these tubules or these like lateral canals that are also feeding that nerve, which is true. But we do have ways of cleaning that. That part, I don't know if she just doesn't know that. I'm sure she does, or she just could be lying, which I think is most likely the case. We have something called ultrasonic activation, which is where we put that irrigant in there. And when we activate it, it actually spreads and cleans out those lateral canals. And we also have ways of sealing that too. We have something called bioceramic sealer, which is becoming more of a standard in root canals. So typically we seal it off with something called gutta percha, which is like this rubber-like thing. And we combine that with this sealer coated around it. And that sealer doesn't just stay there, it also spreads and helps fill those lateral canals that she's talking about.
So what happens is that dead tissue attracts bacteria. That bacteria upsets your immune system and leads to a cascade of problems in the body.
That's just not true. There's also no evidence supporting that. Instead, we actually have studies showing that root canals work. So I don't know where she's getting this information from. And also the idea of leaving a dead tissue inside your body, a tooth is totally different from another one of your organs. So I get like if your liver is dead, you wouldn't want to leave it in your body. But your tooth is still functioning as a tooth and it's still remineralizing. So the ligaments around the tooth, for example, are still alive. And that's what helps you sense that pressure when you're chewing. So if you were to take that tooth out and get an implant, for example, you don't have those ligaments that surround the root. So now if you're chewing something, you don't have that pressure sensor to basically tell if you're actually chewing something. So you still have that when you get a root canal. But also the enamel or the actual tooth structure still remineralizes. So for example, if you put fluoride on a tooth that had a root canal, that tooth is still going to strengthen and remineralize. You can also still get a cavity on a tooth that had a root canal because that tooth can also demineralize, just like any other tooth. The only difference is that blood supply inside of that tooth is still cut off, but there's no evidence that it attracts more bacteria or anything like that.
It's not worth it because there are options today.
So I'm gonna skip a little bit just to save a little bit of time here.
Find a dentist who can do ozone and
Just talking about ozone therapy.
live. If it's already dead, already infected, I recommend removing and replacing it with a ceramic dental implant.
Ceramic dental implant. I knew we were gonna go there. So ozone therapy isn't going to fix a tooth that needs a root canal. That's just nonsense. And the other option, she said, is get the tooth pulled and get a ceramic dental implant. So now you're asking someone to spend like $8,000+ to fix this tooth. And keep in mind, ceramic implants don't really work that well. We typically use titanium implants. And just like the same implants we use in like prosthetic knee replacements or hip replacements, it's the same material that we use in the jaw. And the reason we use it is because we know it works and there's plenty of years of research behind it. Ceramic implants, on the other hand, are more brittle and they don't integrate with the bone as well. And they're more likely to fail. So why would I dish out thousands of dollars on something that can also fail, that is also weaker, when I could just save the tooth with predictable means? Now, if you have to get an implant, by all means do it, but I'd recommend getting a titanium implant. There's just a whole lot of nonsense in this one little TikTok.